Hey, what's up, guys? It's Kristen, and today we are talking about season 3, episode 4 of Charmed, aka I feel like what we can now call the true premiere of season 3.
Yeah.
And in honor of that, we have a very special guest joining us today, my friend Eloy of The Turnout. How you doing, Eloy?
Go me. But hello, but hello, Kristen. like we haven't been talking for 15 minutes.
I know we've been talking about Charmed already. But thank you for joining me. I was like, this is a special occasion. It feels like the true season premiere. So I was like, we got to do something special. So we'll have a guest, and Eloy is that guest.
Yes, we met like commiserating over a second season.
Yeah.
Why is this not what we want it to be? So I think the fact that we're both very positive about this new episode makes it even better for us to discuss it together.
Exactly. We were like in a whole 180. We were talking about what are our theories, why is things not working how we want, and now we're like, oh wait, that was pretty good. I think we're ready for this. So let's just jump right on into it, and let's start out with this is a fresh start.
Yes.
With time jump in 3 months. So were you expecting a time jump?
I was. I mean, I was thinking there had to be some sort of time jump just so that they could kind of skirt the whole process of them reforming, like getting their identities back and, all that junk and enrolling in school. Like all that's great off-screen stuff that we don't really need to see. I didn't know if it was going to be 3 months. My guess was more like 2 months, but hey, 3 months works just as fine, I guess.
Yeah, like we've jumped ahead a little bit. We've done all the things that we, are very busy work that we don't need to see. And now here we are. We've got new looks. Everybody's gotten, we got Maggie's got her new curls, rocking those. She looks great. We got Mel's got a nice short haircut. I think we've just seen since season 2 started that Macy's been like rocking all these really awesome hair looks. So I was just here for it. I was like, yes.
No, I dug Maggie's curls, especially since a few episodes ago on one of my reviews, I had to remark on how bad her hair looked. Like, it looked busted, but it looks amazing now. And honestly, it was very different because it much curlier than normal. So it took me about half the episode, and then I was like, okay, no, I'm digging it now. I'm digging it. It took me. I had to get used to it.
Yeah.
With Mel, I mostly noticed her like really amazing pantsuit. She's like teacher pantsuit lady now.
She's like, I'm a professor. Look at my professional professor looks.
Yeah. Now, Macy kind of just looked the same from what I was seeing, but I do like it when she pulls her hair back and she has like the big poof ponytail going.
Yeah.
I do like that.
And she did have a really good look at the end of the episode, but I feel like we will touch upon that.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit later.
We probably will.
Yeah. And then, I mean, did you get a different feel from this episode though? I kind of felt like a little bit like it was a little shinier, a little glossier. Like I was like, oh, does it feel different? Or is it just me being excited that like we're in a official new season?
No, you're definitely right. There was 3 things that I noticed. There were fewer close-ups because close-ups in movie directing and whatnot is for intensity. So there were fewer of those, so it feels less tense. Everything was super bright and like shiny, so it felt very open and happy. And the soundtrack was no longer this like dour thing. It was just like pop rock, music. And it really did feel like a return to the first season where it was very bubbly and very happy. And it wasn't like this, oh no, it's season 2 kind of feel.
It's so dark. We can't even see what's happening on the screen.
Exactly.
Put up my brightness, like Jael says it was brighter, literally. I agree. And I like seeing that, that we're not in these dark dungeons. Like we're in a university and it's, there's white walls and you can actually see what's happening on screen.
Yeah, it was an interesting scene because they were in the schools and it was white buildings and all that stuff. But if you notice that every time we went back to the command center and we went back to safe space, it looked dark and dingy and like just bleh. Like they still haven't been able to leave that part behind, and it still feels very dark. So it was weird.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to make us feel certain things like dark and scared, like oh no, something's happening when we're in safe space. Maybe it's not so safe. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And then James brings up the soundtrack. The soundtrack, I loved it. And like he said, it brought me back to the first season where like we're having these like fun, kind of like poppy songs like that feel very hip and modern. And I'm like, yes.
Exactly.
I just want to see like these young, modern women of color kicking butt, taking names. And I feel like that's the soundtrack that we were given in this.
I agree.
This
I agree. It was definitely a great reboot of the soundtrack.
Yes. Now let's get into the sisters. They're all doing different things now. We're back to the passions. This is what I think so many of us have been waiting for, right?
Oh, I know I have been.
Yeah. So Mel, she's back at a university. She's a professor. She's talking about activism.
Is she an ethics professor? What is her?
Sure.
I didn't catch what the subject
Something
was.
with activism, I feel. Something with like, women's studies, maybe gender studies, something like that. It looked like.
You can get a degree in anything nowadays, so yeah.
And I think you could just see like already just being in this episode and her as a professor again, the like joy that was kind of coming off of her of like she has a purpose of like, okay, I'm going to do these things for my students. I'm going to go back to like, pushing for these things that I believe in the real world, not just in the magical world. And we get to see that especially with the new student in her class, Kevin, that I know a lot of people have been really excited for him to make an appearance. JJ, oh my goodness.
I don't remember the names. I'm terrible at names.
Hold on, I'm going to get this. JJ Hawkins.
There you go.
The first transgender character on Charmed. And I really liked the introduction to this new character. It seemed like they were actually giving him a storyline, like they weren't just like introducing him and he's just like, in her class, like he's going to have, it seems like he maybe will become like a confidant to her or vice versa, where like maybe we'll see more of this character. What'd you think?
I did like the character. I liked Kevin. I think my problem with Kevin was that introducing Kevin was the entirety of Mel's story in this episode.
Interesting.
Like Mel was like, yeah, but we have to have a book so that we can help Kevin, and I'm going to get Kevin a room and I'm going to try to help Kevin. And I liked it because it kind of showed you it, and I think it showed her that this pattern of like overprotectiveness that she's done is the wrong way to go going forward. Where she's trying to help Kevin. Kevin's like, nah, I got this. I'm good.
Yeah, I like that he was like, my form of like protest is just like being myself, like I'm just gonna go out there and do what I gotta do, and that was
so so I think that's my only gripe with this entire episode was that in the second season, like Mel was definitely shafted and she never got any good storylines or anything. So we're getting like a fresh start, and her storyline is to introduce a different character.
That's so interesting that you say that, because I do think that she was shafted in the second season, but I liked her storyline in this episode, and I felt what you're saying for Macy, because I felt like, Mel and Maggie each kind of got like, one's a professor, one's a student, and then Macy, she didn't get a job as a scientist, at least not that we've seen yet. She was at home obsessing over trying to figure out how to be able to touch Harry. I felt like every line of hers was like, Macy's waiting to get some. And that was like every line, was just her like frustration that she couldn't. And so it's like, oh, we have this like strong scientist, this woman who like has had such incredible storylines over the course of the last 2 seasons. And then now we're kicking off the, official 3rd season, and she's just talking about wanting to date Harry and how she can't touch him and how she can't rip his clothes off.
Yeah. She is slightly still left, she's kind of caught in the second season still. She's still obsessed with it. She was the one mostly in the command center. She's the one still at safe space. She's the one still in the second season mindset.
Yeah.
I also feel like the conversation that Maggie has, and we haven't gotten really to Maggie, but with her teacher about the different forms of intimacy and everything. And yeah, like if you take a deep dive and you look at all the different forms, and there's emotional and spiritual and all these things. However, Macy with the very scientific brain, it is physical intimacy or it is not intimacy in her brain. So I can see, like, you know, it's very black and white. It either works or it doesn't work when you're a scientist. So I like the approach that she's not able to necessarily look at the nuance of that because she's so obsessed with it. However, and I did mention this in my review that I just did about 30 minutes ago, there are things that couples can do that do not require touching each other. So I will just say, I don't know how adult themed Kristen's show is.
It's
but,
not adult themed.
But there are other things that can be done if you need to scratch that itch, is all I'll say.
That is true. So, you know, so I get what you're saying. I just wish that, you know, I just felt like Macy's such an accomplished scientist, and then she just felt like in this episode kind of dumbstruck over love of like, oh, I can't be with the person I love, which that is difficult. I will say that is difficult. But I was like waiting for her to be like, I'm a scientist at this fancy thing, and I'm, you know, doing this other fancy thing with science. You know, like I was waiting for that. You know.
Well, I will say too, though, that like I think getting a job, I mean, like the type of science that she does, getting that type of job would likely take a while. So, you know, because it's not like, you know, becoming a teacher. It's just like, oh, is school about to start? Cool, I'll try and be a teacher. Oh, school's about to start, I'll be a student. But I'm like a specific type of scientist, so I have to like look for people who are giving grants and different groups who are doing that particular research, you know, so, and they have to be in the area. So like, you know, there's more boundaries for her. So if she doesn't have a job to kind of allow her to focus on that, like the other two sisters do, then yeah, she has to get obsessed about the thing that's there.
Yeah.
And that's Harry.
Yeah. And I guess, you know, as Chris Mo says, we do see a promo where it looks like she's going to inherit Safe Space. So I guess she'll probably be busy doing something with that. And, you know, didn't that come from Julian? So maybe there'll be some kind of scientific thing that she can kind of get handed there that she can like be working on.
That could be cool. I think my only gripe, if that ends up happening, I think my only gripe to that would be, at what point did Julian change his will?
Yeah,
like, that would just be weird.
Who you dated for like only a few weeks, maybe,
right?
Maybe, you know,
right. Well, and even after they revealed to him that, you know, his Aunt Viv was, you know, backstabbing him and all that stuff and blah blah blah, like it was like 12 hours between when he found that out and he died.
He was so, like, call to my lawyer, can you please change this?
I mean, he might have, if he has that kind of forethought and he really didn't think he would make it out, then I guess. But he also seemed like he thought he was going to get out of there. Yeah. He did not think he was going to be the one to die that episode.
Yeah. Now let's get into Maggie.
Yes.
One of the things that I love about this show with her is that they have introduced, you know, her anxiety, and like that continues. You know, it's not like, oh, one and done. And I think that that's something that they've done in the past where like they introduce something and then it doesn't matter anymore. And so to see that this is something that they like are keeping going and it's like part of her identity and who she is, I'm like, awesome. You know, that is really cool that they're like keeping that consistency. And I think it makes sense with her powers. And then, you know, to see her, you know, now she's going to become a psychology major and she's maybe going to be a therapist down the line. Like all of it kind of ties back to her powers and how emotional she is. And yeah, that was really cool. What'd you think?
I mean, I agree. I agree. I liked the continuation of the panic attacks. I didn't necessarily understand why she's not using her powers. You know, we're noticing that like Macy's back to using her powers casually, you know, like, here, I'll pass the milk to you. Yeah, like, that's great. You know, I think that's wonderful.
Love casual use of powers.
Right, exactly. But if her powers are emotional, if somebody's being a jerk to her, you'd be like, you're not a jerk anymore. Like that. I think that was my whole thing, is that the witch who can control people's emotions isn't using that power to easily get over this issue that she has right now.
I wonder if just, you know, because she also is struggling with her own emotions, if sometimes it becomes so overwhelming that it's hard for her to use her power the way, like maybe she hasn't figured out how to use it yet, and that's why she still isn't able to calm herself down either. because
a lot of the best uses of her power has been passive at this point. I'm surprised though that it hasn't even happened passively with as angry as she got.
yeah, where it's just like, oops.
Yeah. Yeah, and Jed Young just hey Jed. So a few of the people in the comments did come over from my video I did a little bit ago.
Hello.
But yeah, we kind of discussed the fact that the whole personal gain rule it's never been a stated thing in the reboot.
Oh, yeah, let me bring that up.
So
they kind of brought it up in like season 1 when they were doing like what is that called? Glamours. The personal gain issue, because remember for the Halloween party, Maggie was using a lot of personal gain with the glamours, and then she started getting like breaking out on her face because they were like, you shouldn't have done this. But that was like
I don't remember that at all, apparently.
Oh yeah, that was like the one time that really kind of like happened, and then after that they kind of just forgot about the personal gain stuff.
Yeah,
it hasn't really affected them.
Well, I think for me,
there's no elders or anything anymore. Do you think maybe that's
right? Exactly. So that was my point. I was like, oh, there's nobody to tell them that you can't do it for, so it might still be a rule, but nobody's really told them. But I like the continuation of her story, and I liked her story. I just felt like if she just used her emotion control powers, it would be an easy thing to get over.
Yeah.
I also feel like the beginning of the episode where she goes, oh, well, you know what? This is the year of me. And I kind of rolled my eyes because seasons 1 and 2 were all about her as well. She, rarely did she actually look for anyone else, really, like, especially not in season 2, where she asks somebody to not take a job so that she can go for the job.
Yeah.
Like, what? That wasn't the year of you? What does the year of you look like if that's not it? I guess would be my question.
Maybe, I don't know, because like getting a job, that's like an ambitious thing, right? So she's trying to get a scholarship now. That's still in the same vein.
Yeah, but I will say, I know people come for me because I rag on Maggie all the time. I actually do like her though. Like, she's a good character, but they write her. That's the way they write her. Like, it's like
yeah, I think she was just immature, and I felt like she grew up a bit towards the end of season 2. Like, she had some moments,
I agree with that.
with Ray. So, maybe now they're trying to like show her more ambitious side, and like.
I definitely agree with that. And something else that I also that I said earlier that I was thinking about was they're kind of setting up Antonio to be like an antagonist, because he's getting favor from the teacher and whatnot.
Yeah,
I think at the same time, it's not Antonio's fault that he has the advantage at this point. Like, he wants the internship too, and if he is also qualified, then it should just be like a fair match between him and Mags, right? Like, it should just be like, hey, let's put these two against each other and see who would be the better teacher's assistant. But the way that it's being framed right now is that, like, we have to bring Antonio down. And it's just like, no, he's just another student. He just also wants the internship. Like, it's the teacher's the one at fault. It's not Antonio's fault that he's getting the advantage here.
That is true. Maybe the teacher, the professor, just put a bad taste in her mouth when he like completely dismissed her and only talked to Antonio because they had the same background.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that he could be a potential?
I understand it from her point of view. I'm more just looking at it in like the broader sense. It's just like, I'm not necessarily anti-Antonio at this point. Like,
but I'm sure totally like relate to her doing that and just picking someone who like literally has no idea that they're even like at odds and being like, that's my nemesis.
Exactly.
He doesn't even know. He has no idea, but I feel like that's so real.
Exactly. I've done that before in my own life. Yeah, I'll be like
I'm my nemesis.
Exactly. I'm an author, so like I got a bad review, and I'm like, what's that person's name? Oh, I'm gonna show that guy. Like, I've never met that guy in my life, but if he writes about me again, it's gonna be positive, and I'll show him. He became my enemy at that point.
Yeah.
It's just funny, but that's kind of how I feel about Antonio. Anyway, I'll stop talking about Macy now.
No.
I'm sorry, Maggie.
And then, Naz says, I wonder if maybe he's going to be more than just competition. Maybe he could be a potential new love interest for Maggie, which could make sense if, like, I think we maybe have felt the same. I don't know. But this is how I felt, is that there was too many love interests in the past. There was, like, love pentagons and, like, love quadruple, and I'm like, it was too much. I think we like made that up together, right? That there was like just too many.
Exactly.
but also I could maybe see, because she can't really touch Jordan. Maybe this could become one. I do love a enemies to lovers story. So maybe this will be her nemesis turned romantic interest down the line.
I think it could be cool. That would make me feel bad for Antonio even more, though, because he would literally be a rebound. He'd be a rebound enemy for Jordan, which would mean it wouldn't last. Because Jordan was already the rebound for Parker. So it's it's not looking good. Like, she really should just be probably single. Is what I'm thinking.
I think that she should too.
I like the idea of the year of me. I like that.
Maybe that's the year of me. No relationships.
Yes. Now, what I also want is for them to stop writing Jordan as a lovesick puppy. So, get it together, writers. I need Jordan to be awesome Jordan who can do anything, because that's Jordan to me.
Yeah, I want them to karaoke again. That would be
cool. That would be cool. But they have to get close. So they have to lift this curse, and then they can be rewarded with a musical episode.
Yes. Now, speaking of this curse, or maybe allergy, as they brought up.
Yes, energy signature.
Energy signature. Let's dive into that. In this episode, they can't touch anybody magical. Yeah. So basically, I think at the end of the last episode, we were kind of all talking in the comments here, and we were a little bit confused. Like, was it because Harry killed Jimmy that this happened? Was it because of them touching the source and the tree and all this stuff? And I think they basically confirmed in this episode it was the combination of the source and the tree affecting them, and it kind of like got into their blood. And now whenever they get near someone magical, someone who is cursed by magic, or anything like that, if they get too close, they get like hives and pain, and it's like an allergy. So this is the pandemic thing. I feel like every episode I'm like, this is the pandemic thing, right? This is the pandemic thing officially. So what were your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this? Do you think they can solve it?
I mean, they'll definitely solve it eventually. I mean, it would be a weird show if this just never got cured. But no, I like it as a storytelling device. Again, it makes them have to be creative with some of their solutions, because they can't touch each other. Kind of like at the end where they're like, I have this potion, and only Macy could give it to him because she had telekinesis.
Yeah,
right.
Of using your magic.
Right, but otherwise, nobody would have been able to get close enough to give him the potion at the end. But I like this whole setup that we have here. My theory behind why they can't touch in connection with the demons, and I know we're gonna probably get more in depth, but the demons that are coming are pre-civilization, prehistoric. They're like, no one's ever seen them in the modern day, which is cool, because then it allows the writers to just come up with whatever. But I think what ends up happening, my theory is that at some point in the far, far past, the source and the tree were one thing. And whatever separated them was also what maybe sealed these demons away. So by joining them together, again, the source and the tree, now that's why all of these older demons from back in the day, that's why they're now coming back, because the energy signature, as it were, is kind of calling to them.
Very, very detailed theory. Did you maybe write this, Eloy? Are you moonlighting?
I've written so many fanfics in my brain. I'm telling you, you don't even know.
Really smart, and that's now what I think. I didn't know what to think, but I think that is really cool that we're, this idea that maybe then we'll get these like ancient Demon of the Week episodes where we'll be like meeting these new creatures that, it seems like that rune that Harry found, maybe that will like kind of be like, okay, now we've unlocked this one. We've unlocked this one by defeating them. But my question is then, they have this allergy, right? So magical things can't touch them. Demons, witches, they can't touch each other. They can't even touch people that are cursed. So how did this thing possess them? If it had to go into them to possess them, wouldn't it have just like been like allergied out? Like it would have like, they would have gotten the rash and everything?
Well, see, that's the thing, because it has its origin also with the same energy. So it's not repelled. It's only they're gonna repel modern magical things. Even to the point where you notice that they did the revealing spell and nothing happened until she left the room, and then it happened.
Wait, why?
Because they're repelling anything magical. The only magic that they can use right now, this is my theory, the only magic they can use is their inherent magic. And you saw them. She tried the whole revealing spell, and she's like, "It's not working. It's not working." And then she got fed up and stormed out of the room, and then it worked.
Interesting.
So she did the spell correctly. It just wasn't going to do anything in her presence.
Now, did you also think with so when they fought off this monster, did their powers look different to you? Let
me see. I think that the fact that we could see Macy's power was interesting, because normally her telekinesis is invisible. I did like that Maggie's, energy stuff was still that pinkish kind of color. So I did dig that. And Mel's, I don't remember what color it was, but it turned that thing red because she melted him from the inside. I like that.
I thought that was cool. I felt like we were watching, I don't know, Harry Potter when they, you could see.
Yes, they were casting their Patronuses and stuff. Yeah.
But Eloy, we're getting so many comments that you should be in the writer's room, that you're wait, hold on. There was another one. That you had a great theory. Makes sense. It makes sense, Eloy.
I'm a screenwriter, so what ends up happening is if I see a thing and any answers they don't give me, I make up the answers. I make it up in my brain. I'm like, this is what I would do if I wrote it. So thank you. I appreciate the fact that you guys all like my theories. Sometimes they're wrong.
Everyone's like, Eloy, you're a genius. I agree. Eloy is a genius.
Wow. I didn't even see all those comments. Yeah. Wow. Thank you guys. I appreciate that a lot. Well, I know one of the two of us knows the writers. So, it's not me.
Oh, that was season 1. Not anymore. Not anymore.
Okay, darn. Well, if either of us gets the hookup, we'll hook the other one up. It'll be great. Because I do screenwriting, so it's I know all the tropes and the tricks, and I understand. I know how they're doing it. I pointed out at the end of the season, it within the span of 3 scenes, every character besides Mel had said that they didn't trust Abby. I don't know if we can trust her. Can we trust her with this? I don't know if we can trust her. And I'm like, okay, so with everybody saying that they can't trust her, one of two things is going to happen. She's either going to sacrifice herself to prove them all wrong, or she's going to lean into it and become a big bad demon thing. And then she ended up becoming the big bad demon thing. So, but there was only 2 things that could happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, just from the dialogue, because there's no throwaway lines. You got to pay those people to say those lines. So if they say something, you're paying money for it. It better be important to the story.
Yeah. Definitely.
So anyway, I like the whole thing. And first off, I liked this demon. The look of it was awesome.
Monster? Yeah, it was are we in Stranger Things?
Yes, it was very Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so good. I loved the look, and I liked when they blew it up. I liked that the ectoplasm went everywhere, and that
Maggie was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Exactly. But I liked it too that some of it landed on the camera lens and they left it there, and I was like, that's cool, because that just it draws me in and makes me understand just there's this much ectoplasm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So I liked it a lot. And the fact again that, it left that symbol when they vanquished it, meaning, and it's one of the symbols on the tablet that Harry found. So that each of those symbols is likely a new monster that is going to be coming for them while they still have this energy signature. So what this does, and this is what I've actually been hoping for, and we've talked about it before, they have now set themselves up with a Monster of the Week scenario that is also part of an overarching storyline. And that is exactly what we all wanted. So They did, bravo. They did an amazing job with this episode and setting up the rest of the season.
Yeah. Getting us back to the monster of the week. I love James is like, they're like collectibles, collectible monsters. That's great.
I hope we get a scene at the end of every episode with them naming the demon,
Yeah.
and I hope it becomes a running gag.
Yeah, that's like the Flash, right? Didn't they like name all the villains that they would like meet?
Yes,
Name them
yeah, it was always Cisco and Barry would be like, "What should we call this one? The Weather Wizard." I like it.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, so good. Yeah, I want to see that because I will say, like, I really liked this episode. I kind of was like hoping for a little bit more with the monster, and I was like, come on, like let's speed up them getting possessed or whatever. But now the fact that like this has introduced this whole basically like grid of monsters that are coming, I'm like, okay, I'm fine with that. But I do want to see them like now that we know that, give us a bit more time with each of whatever is coming.
Yeah.
Because I like when we see, just when we're able to like expand the story through whatever thing is coming to them, so I hope that they like really like dig into each monster that's coming. Maybe they don't all look like monsters. Maybe some of them look like people. Maybe some, and then like they kind of can weave into the story, and it's like, oh, we're introduced to this thing. And one of my favorite episodes, I think I've mentioned this to you, was the Medusa one in season 1.
Yes.
And that I love that because I felt like they introduced this character that kept coming up, and then they actually had like a resolution with them.
Yeah.
Whereas like one of the ones I didn't really love this season so far was the witch stuck in the witch stuck in the painting, because that was like this much of the story. If that was the whole episode, that would have been really cool. Like, oh my gosh,
yeah.
it was like a throwaway thing. Like I want to see these monsters really have.
That was literally a throwaway thing. It was literally like this witch is being held in a painting in a vault guarded by a troll.
That could be a whole episode.
There's no troll. They open the vault very easily, and then they grab the painting, and then Abby goes, and then the witch is out, and then the witch goes, "Thank you," and then it's over. And I was like, that could have been a whole episode into itself. Like, there was no reason to make it this 2-minute thing in the episode.
And that's what I mean, like where I want them to like dig deeper into those things where like maybe we got to know that witch, maybe, and then like, it's not like she's not gonna become a character, but like she has that episode where we're like, following them.
I liked the mystery of this episode, and I'm with you. Like, I'm okay with it the way that it got executed very well. So it was a mystery until the very end, and then it's a classic monster. Destroy that thing. Cool. Get it out of your face. In going forward, now that they've set up the pattern for us and we know what's happening, we'll get those ones that we'll be able to dig deeper into, especially as they start to interpret the symbols. And my thought would be eventually they'll see a pattern in how they're coming, and they'll be able to predict, okay, cool, well, this one came, so by math and science that would tell us that whatever this symbol is connected to, that's the next one that's coming, so let's research the hell out of this symbol so we're ready for it. So like that's again, that's how I would write it if I wrote it.
And then and then you can really like have them do research into how do we defeat these things, because I think that's the other thing is sometimes like, oh, it's like, oh, okay, just explode it, or like we'll just do whatever in the moment, and it's like, okay, well, you did that for this one, but like for the next ones, I'm sure they're gonna be harder. You're gonna need to like plan and like make a potion or like figure out what you're gonna do. You can't just use your hand or like the power of 3 every time, like, right? Don't you have to like do other things? So maybe this could be where the Book of Shadows comes back into play, or something, like if it does come back. I'm not like 100%.
Or if they can even make potions anymore. That's my thing. Is I don't know if potions or spells or anything work right now. Like that could even be the reason why these potions and stuff that Macy's making to try and cure the touch thing anyway, they might not be working for that reason.
That's true.
So, but I get a real like Evangelion vibe to this now, where these like ancient powers, they're going to just send them in waves, and every episode is going to be a new thing to defeat with a new trick and a new gimmick up its sleeve. So, and I'm a fan of Evangelion, so I'm all for it.
Totally. I think we're getting a couple of interesting comments.
Let's do it
really quick.
I love interacting.
Yes. Hold on. Where was it? James says, this has everything I've ever wanted from Charmed. Yeah, there was a lot of great stuff in this episode.
So far, so good. I mean, the setup again for, you know, the monster of the week with the overarching storyline. I liked all the individual storylines. I'm digging the characters. Like, they're introducing new characters. They're keeping some of the old ones around.
The monsters and the powers were really cool.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk about a couple of our like highlights of this episode, which is, you know, the monster, which we've talked about.
Yeah, definitely.
We've talked about the new characters. We've talked already about them going back to their passions.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, one of the biggest highlights was also that sister bonding, which I feel like is so funny that in the one episode where they actually physically cannot touch, we got the most sister bonding that we've gotten in like.
Yeah. I'm surmising that that's actually the reason. Because, you know, it's easy to be, you know, feel like you're close when you can just give somebody a hug, you know, but if you don't have that ability, then you have to speak the other 4 love languages, as it were.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and after 3 months, and I liked, like, at the very beginning, they're like, oh, they've got a routine down. Like, they've already gotten into the flow of living with this thing where they can't get too close. So they're like, I can't be going out to work and she's coming back from a run. So they've timed it. Cool. Okay, she's back. Cool. Now I can go. So I really, really liked it. And it means that they have spent the last 3 months bonding, especially after they all almost died. So I think that the near-death experience by putting their hand into the black amber with the tree and joining the source and all that stuff, it sounds dumb when you say it out loud, but it's a thing that happened. But you know, that was all of them saying, I'm fine dying. So, and then they didn't die. So I think that is now bringing them closer together, despite the fact that they can't touch.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like everyone's kind of had like a different like turn of, I don't know, turn of mind, I guess, or whatever. That is not the phrase. I can't think of what the phrase is, but like, you know, like Mel and Maggie and Macy were all kind of in this place where they were like, can't do any of the things that we like. And now you see Macy is the one that's like, no, Harry, we're going to figure this out because I need to touch you, you know, like, where like she all before she was like, no, we can't be together, you know, whatever. Now she's like, nope, we got to make this work.
I will say though, for all the Hasty lovers out there, I thought this was a pretty good Hasty episode. I think that they're still together. Yes. You can tell that they still love each other, and it's there. They've had a few touching moments together, some frustrating, some very cute with the Paris dinner and all that stuff. I mean, so they did a good job writing Hasty this episode. I felt like Hasty got way better screen time and more screen time in this episode than anything else.
Interesting. I don't know if I fully agree. I agree in terms of like, I thought that they had that cute moment at the end. Macy looked amazing. Her hair and her dress. I was like, whoa, girl, she's taking us to Paris. But like I said, I think for me, I felt like everyone else was doing these like ambitious things and professional things. And then Macy was kind of like just relayed to being like, I want to be with my boyfriend. And those are the things I don't really like when they do that in these like shows, when they're just like all about the love triangles and love, you know, the relationship. Not that there's anything wrong with love. I mean, we love love. Yeah. But sometimes I feel like they focus so much on those things with them that I'm like, let's get into some other stuff. So, but you know, they definitely had some good moments. And
I also feel though, I'm glad that we're done with the will they, won't they.
Yeah.
Now it's about what happens now that they said that they will, you know? So, moving forward into that, I like that aspect of it.
Yeah. And, I like this comment also. Just seeing the sisters have their moment together drinking at the end of the episode and just being like,
oh yeah,
girl empowerment. Yeah. That was great too. Some good moments at the end. And of course, now there's also, you know, this shocking moment at the very, very end. This person who came through a portal. We got a theory here from Joel. Maybe it's someone from the future. Oh, that reminded me of something I was going to say before. Because you were talking about the ancient evils and like these ancient things from the past. What if they go to the past? What if we get to see the Charmed Ones like go see their past selves or go to like?
That could be cool.
That would be fun.
That could be cool. I mean, I guess it depends on how far in the past you want to go. So,
like maybe you know, they had those other life episodes where they were like in the 1800s or whatever.
Yeah, I think that would be cool, especially if, you know, after they're able to touch, or possibly if they go back in time to a past life then they can touch again, and then that would be kind of a weird way to get around the curse that they have, by inhabiting a past life's body, and then you don't have the energy signature anymore. I don't really know. But I mean, it could be cool. I'd be down for that.
But speaking of this thing that came through what looked like a rip in the world, what do you think that could be? I feel like there's so many theories. It could be someone from another dimension, someone from the past, the future, aliens, monsters.
So I think we had said this before we hit record, but I think that introducing aliens I think that's a far-fetched concept. I think it would add way too much. And again, I like going back to the monster of the week where each challenge is, its own thing. A lot of the issue that I had with the second season is that they kept introducing these huge plot points that had these giant ramifications in the world building, and it would change everything about the way that you viewed everything in the show. So I like the idea of like, hey, there's a monster, vanquish it, boom, done. We didn't have to think too much about it, and it's great because there's no gray area in that. It was going to murder us, so we had to murder it first. So it's probably not aliens. My guess, this is so I have a few guesses. It's either obviously something like some dark being from beyond or whatever from the old times, but the spell that she was doing was what was it? It wasn't a resurrection spell specifically that they said, but it was like a rebinding spell, a recreation spell, I think is what they said.
Yeah, something like that.
Is what the demon made them do, which that makes me think it might be Alistair Kane. I think it could be Alistair Kane coming back.
You think they would bring him back?
I don't know. That's my guess. That's my only guess that I have at this point. So
I gotta say,
until we find out more.
I don't know, just because I don't know if I felt he was strong enough as a villain to come back, like to be worth coming back.
Yeah.
But maybe it could be related. I've seen some other people also saying, what if like it's related to Abigail? Because like maybe she possessed them, and they had the glowing eyes, kind of similar to her demon, but not quite.
Oh, that's kind of true.
And she already has access to their minds. I mean, but we did see the thing go into their heads, so like maybe that's not quite the case. But you never know. Maybe.
No, you're right. Well, yeah. I mean, it could be that because you're right. Because the yellow, circles were similar to her when she did the idol. She broke the idol, and that made her eyes do that. So that would mean that it wasn't even this old, demon that they vanquished at the end wasn't the thing that was controlling them. It was possibly Abby.
I mean, whatever Abigail broke open, that thing looked old. Maybe that was her. Oh, like maybe that was the jump start of like this ancient thing coming out.
Ooh. Yeah, I'll see. Now that's even cooler now. I like that a lot.
Ooh.
All right, cool. So yeah, now I'm down with that. So yeah, this is all Abby doing, because honestly, the lack of Abby in this episode made me sad. So to see that she actually was just in the episode, you just couldn't see her. She was possessing them. I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
That would be interesting. But like, what does she want though? Like what is her? I feel like she just wants people to like her and like not be mean to her. I don't know. I feel like that's like she just wants like a family. She wants to be accepted and loved, and nobody will let her live.
I guess it depends on where she is in that mindset, because at one point that's what she wanted, but now she's been rejected by everybody, including the charmed ones, including Harry, including her own family, both sides of her family, including all of Demon Society. Including all of Witch Society. So
like literally everybody's ostracized her.
So like, maybe she is the one who is triggering all of this stuff, and she's like, well, if none of the demons today want me, I'm gonna summon up all the old demons and they can be my friends.
That is an interesting idea. Did you end up watching Chilling Adventures of Sabrina?
Yes, I think I made it about halfway through the third season.
Okay. Oh, wait, so not the most recent one?
I haven't watched the most recent one yet.
Okay, because we got a comment here that's saying that the dinosaurs, or the dinosaurs, it looked like a dinosaur, or whatever this is that they revived, kind of reminded them of the Eldritch Terrors Eldritch Horrors. I think it was Eldritch Terrors, actually. That was in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, the last part, because it kind of like predated mankind, and it was like these things that came each week that they had to fight off. And I'm like, that does kind of seem a little bit.
It does sound similar. It's like it's a Cthulhu-esque sort of thing, and I dig that. Everybody likes a Cthulhu.
The dinosaur. Yeah. And then there was another interesting callback to, what if this is the evil triad who died fighting the first charmed ones coming back? The only reason I bring this up is because I thought that one episode titled Triage was interesting, and I was like, does that relate to triad? Maybe that's something, I don't know. Maybe it just seems like a similar word.
Well, I mean, it's definitely similar. Triage is like when you're like patching up somebody, you're repairing something. It's a medical term. So, but also it has try in there. So it could be. I think that any idea of bringing in elements of the old show is a good, I mean, it's always going to be a winner. If you bring in elements of the old show, people love that. I hope that they start going in a newer direction and start to maybe do some things maybe a little bit differently. One thing that I had said is that I was hoping that Mel would develop a secondary power of creating force fields, because I feel like that is so in touch with her character, and not so much the making things hot and making things cold. Like that doesn't necessarily speak Mel to me.
Yeah.
But creating force fields to protect people, like that's right up her alley. So she could be like a Sue Storm sort of character. So I'm hoping that like they really try to branch out and do some different things. I know a lot of people are like, I hope that they get back their old powers. And I'm like, you know what? I would love it if they got brand new powers, and try to do very different things that pay homage to the old show, but aren't necessarily just trying to repeat it.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah. This is an interesting comment going back to the monsters. What if you have to kill these monsters because they're dangerous, but killing them causes these symbols to appear, which then triggers something else that's going to come.
Oh, you're right. Like that tablet, every time you kill one, like the thing glows on the tablet. And then as soon as you collect it, like somebody said it was it's like it's like collecting Pokemon. Somebody said earlier. But yeah, so yeah, it could definitely be like that. And then after they finish all the monsters on the tablet, what does the tablet then do? Maybe
you get that big boss.
Yeah, that's a big boss move right there.
Fight that, then you can, not have your allergy anymore.
Gosh, that sounds like, I mean, I looked at the number of symbols on that tablet. There were a lot of them.
Yeah.
So hopefully they're able to break this curse before they have to defeat all of those.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. I hope so. But, this was overall, what were your thoughts on this episode as a whole, as like kind of like this new start to what season 3 really is?
Oh, awesome. I thought it was wonderful. And you can tell, I know that I said I did not want a clear delineation between seasons, episode 3 and 4. It should roll over. But I feel like they still did it. They executed it well, but there is definitely a completely different feel in episode 4 from episode 3, in the best of ways. So I am all about it.
I agree. Yeah. I felt like this was the one that I was like, it was giving me hope. I'm like, I liked this a lot. It did feel to me like we're going in a new direction. We've got the good music back. We've got new hairstyles. We're back to our passions. We got new monsters. And I think that's going to be a big game changer, is this like potential demon of the week format, because you get to really dive into the girls in the magical world, but also get introduced to all these different creatures. And I love what you're saying, it's going to have this overarching story that's going to mean something. So I'm excited about that. And
most definitely,
I can't wait to see what happens next. To me, it feels like a fresh start, and I'm ready. Yes. I am ready. So do you have anything that you would like to share or promote, Eloy, or anywhere that people can find you?
Well, I mean, the main place, go check out The Turnout. It's youtube.com/The Turnout. pretty easy. I like the vanity things, the vanity URLs that you can do. I made mine very easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I talk about Charmed over there. I also talk about Buffy, and I talk about WandaVision now. Oh my gosh, I love that show.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Oh, so good. So and after WandaVision, I'll start talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm not gonna stop. And I occasionally do a movie review or a video essay here and there, but mostly I keep up with the current shows. But definitely go check me out over there. We've crossed like 1,100 subscribers, so hey, it's not too bad.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And we got a little comment. I think this is for you because you do a lot of Buffy stuff. We love Buffy.
Yes. Yay. Yes, I do. I do a lot of Buffy stuff. I actually have one I have to edit now.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I just need to put up on the channel. It's all about Slayers and like how they're made. It should be fun.
Awesome. That should be fun. Well, thank you to everyone who has joined us. I get, you're on my channel, so hopefully if you like this content, feel free to subscribe. If you want to see Eloy or even some other people, come join me for Charm Chats. Let me know. Ooh, Charm Chats. I just made that up.
Me. So I also sometimes do a collaboration on with Charmed with Maria over on Approach the Nerd.
Oh,
the last time we talked, what's that?
I was gonna say we got to do like a Charmed 3. What is the word?
Yes, we had said that we should do the Power of 3 podcast.
Yeah. Oh, we should.
Where like the three of us get together after every episode and talk it out. And that was actually something that was pitched at us by our commenters on the last one that we did. Funny. They were like, "You should get Kristen in to do the Power of 3." I'm like,
"That's a great idea."
I'll ask her. We'll see. It depends on scheduling, but I'm down.
Oh, that's funny. Well, yeah, that is a great title. So.
Right? It's a great title. I didn't even come up with it. The commenters came up with it.
So feel free to check out Eloy. He already said where his stuff is, but also in the description box you can check that out. Feel free to check out my content, subscribe if you like it, and you can check out more Charmed videos right over here, over there, somewhere here. It's linked.
Yeah, it's probably over my face. Right now.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Eloy, for joining me. This was so fun, and thank you everyone who came to chat Charmed with us. And we'll see you next week.